Hi. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Darea. I'm currently sitting in my unfinished sunroom in the scorching heat because it is not air conditioned, but I'm here because I've been wanting to start a podcast now about my mental health for a while. The goal of this is to explain my story and how I've healed, the tools that I've used, and situations that I've faced to help me be here today. I guess I will start this episode with just how I kind of got here. I started at Penn State in the fall. I was so excited. College is what everybody talks about for freshman through senior year of high school. You get asked what your major is, where you're going, have you applied, what was your SAT score, all of those questions. So I was so excited to enter my freshman year at Penn State. And then once I had gotten there, I kind of felt like something was off. I helped my mom and my brother set up my side of my dorm room, and right before they left, I started crying. Now, I know, it's normal. Homesickness, you don't want your family to leave, all that stuff. Yeah. Well, that's what we all kind of thought it was at first. But I knew that deep down it was something more. It wasn't just homesickness. I spent most of my time there in my room. I had no motivation to go out. I didn't want to socialize. I had fears. I lived in a state of what if. What if when I get out, I get kidnapped? What if I go to a party and I get hit on and I tell him, no, I have a boyfriend, and my boyfriend thinks that I was flirting with someone? What if my drink gets spiked? What if I am walking down the street and I can't remember if I just punched the kid who was walking next to me? Those were the outrageous thoughts that I was having. So I thought that it was better if I just stayed in my room, if I just did not look at anybody, if I did not socialize, I could avoid any of those scenarios. But I didn't realize how wrong that decision was. I didn't take advantage of what I had on campus. I maybe went to the library once, I went to class, and that was it. I didn't take advantage of the clubs, the environment, the sports games. I went to one volleyball game, one football game, but that was also short-lived because I had gotten sick. I had COVID, and then I was in the hospital a week later with a kidney infection. I wasn't feeling well. I was gonna hold off. I didn't feel like I had to go. And then the pain started getting worse. And thank God I went when I did, because I could have went into septic shock because of the kidney infection. I was in the hospital for a few days. My mom came up in the middle of the night. God bless her, because seriously, without her, I wouldn't have been able to get through any of it. It was a really tough time. I got out of the hospital and was like, maybe I should just start trying to go out. But then the fears of, well, what if I get sick? What if my boyfriend doesn't love me anymore? What if my family is disappointed in me because I didn't take advantage of what I had so far? What if my family's mad at me? All of these outrageous thoughts still happening in my brain. I let my thoughts consume me. I didn't let myself think for me. I let my thoughts run wild. And what I've learned is you control your thoughts. You may not control what they are, but you control what you do with them. Because everybody's human, everybody's thinking every second of the day. It's how you control your thoughts and what you do with them. I didn't end up going out because a few days later I was back in the hospital with another kidney infection. It turns out it had spread to the other side. Something I wasn't ready for, because I was ready to just go out and start enjoying college the way that I knew I was supposed to, because I was, again, so excited to start. And then once I got out of the hospital, I was just sitting in my dorm room and I called my mom and my boyfriend, and I just had a nervous breakdown. I really did. I started screaming, crying, throwing myself on the floor, throwing things on the floor, just a state I never thought I'd see myself in. I truly always thought that people who were struggling with mental illness, not that they were lying or anything, but I was just always like, it can be handled. It never has to get super bad. No, it does. And you don't know until you experience it or somebody in your life experiences it. Because I've never seen my mom so upset with how I was feeling. I've never seen my boyfriend so worried because I was spiraling. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help myself because I didn't know what I was struggling with. I had no idea. I thought I was just a worrisome person. Thought I just worried about everything. That was part of it. But anyways, I ended up withdrawing from Penn State a month in. It was the last day in September when I had decided, and the first day in October, I was home. I packed up my things and decided I needed to help myself because if I didn't, I knew it would only get worse from there. And so I came home. I made a psychiatrist appointment. I made some therapy appointments. I called a whole lot of psychologists to find out who can help me. And then I went to go see the psychiatrist after I'd got an appointment. And I explained to him what was going on. I would constantly pray, constantly, to the point where it wasn't healthy. It was more of like I was relying on the praying to like relieve me of what I was feeling, and that I had to name everybody in my family in my prayer when I was saying God bless and God please watch over, and I'd name everybody because if something happened the next day, I didn't want to be responsible for it. It'd be my fault. I told him the what if thoughts that I had. I told him that I unplug all of my electronics before I leave the room in fear that a fire will start. And he told me, you have anxiety, depression, and OCD. I was literally like, I don't have OCD. I know I'm an anxious person, but I don't have OCD. I don't know, like, I don't need to be super neat all the time. Nothing needs to be super organized. If you saw my room, you know that. My room's a disaster right now. But I think that's where I wanted to get into this podcast is because no one truly knows what OCD is. It is that misconception that everything needs to be organized, everything needs to be in order, everything needs to be color coded and neat. That's not it. It is obsessive compulsive disorder. You have obsessions and you have compulsions. My obsessions were my thoughts, and that is what really tore me down. And then my compulsions were ruminating on every conversation I may have had with somebody, hoping I didn't hurt their feelings, hoping I didn't give them the wrong impression, hoping that I said the right thing, hoping that I was doing everything right. The compulsive praying for my family, for my friends, all of that. And I was in denial when I heard that because I was like, there's just no way. And my psychiatrist told me that I needed to see someone and speak to someone because it was not going to get any better without help. He wanted to put me on medication. At first, I was so against it. I didn't want to be on medication to make me happy. I can find things that make me happy, but medication doesn't have to be all that you rely on. It can be a crutch, and you could still find things to make you happy. It is a crutch and it should not be something to be ashamed of. And that's something that I've had to learn the hard way, as well as going out in public. I didn't want anybody to know that I was home. I didn't want anybody to realize that I had withdrawn from school while everybody else was posting on their social media, living their best lives, having such a good time. But again, I soon realized not all of that's so true. People post what they want us to see. They don't post everything. I never posted anything that I was going through. I'd post happy birthday posts and I'd post things for my boyfriend and my animals. Nobody knew what was going on. It's not something I wanted people to see. So I literally stayed in the house. I put myself on house arrest for months. Would not talk to anybody. I literally didn't speak to anybody except for my family and my boyfriend for literal months. And then I started going to therapy multiple times a week. And in therapy, I learned so many tools and things that have helped me, which is another reason why I wanted to start this podcast, is because not only did I want to explain what OCD was, but also the different ways that I have started to overcome those thoughts that consume you. Because believe me, you're not alone. You are not alone. I always thought that I was just crazy. You're not crazy. It is truly a debilitating illness that controls you. But my lovely therapist has been working with me for months now, and I, in the beginning, had so much to learn. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was so disappointed in myself. I thought that everybody was disappointed in me. I truly was at like a wit's end. I had no idea what to do. And then getting the help was truly my saving grace. I turned to God. That was the saving grace. I told my family everything. Now that was the biggest thing for me, because no matter how much I learned from therapy, no matter how much I prayed to God, my family was shut out from everything that was going on. They didn't know a single thing. They thought I got homesick. They thought that I was just so upset that I wanted to come home. Nobody knew the true extent to which I was suffering in my own mind. My own mind was like betraying me. I was disgusted. I was so disgusted with myself that I could possibly be thinking that I can do this. I literally made myself seem like I was this awful person who would do awful things to people because my thoughts allowed me to do so. And that's why, again, it's not the thought itself, it's how you use that thought and what you do with it. But I wanted to start off by sharing my story so that the rest of the videos start going a little bit more into the types of healing that I've done and a little bit more about OCD itself. Because again, not everybody really knows what it is. I hope that I'm able to continue this and to spread awareness and positivity. So, yeah, thanks for listening.